Hello, lovelies. Welcome along. My name is Bianca and I'm the plant-based queen. I am here to talk about, I'm just fresh off a client call, right? So my brain is buzzing and I want to tell you exactly like six of the main reasons why you will be overeating at night, even though you have the best intentions, even though that you want to eat healthy and stick to your New Year's resolutions and stick to your goals. But in the evening, it comes to it, and then all of a sudden you feel compelled to fucking eat everything in the cupboard. Okay. I'm gonna teach you the top six reasons why women do this in the evening. It might not necessarily be the evening for you, but you might resonate to help you better understand exactly the reason why you are eating in the evenings and abandoning your goals, right? So you might want to lose weight, you might want to eat healthy, you might want to reduce inflammation, maybe see some better blood markers, whatever your goal is. If your goal is to not eat in the evening after dinner, I want you to stick around, okay? Because you are going to learn exactly why. So this is basically this is going to be a little bit of a training based off of like some of the calls and information that I've had with my clients. So I want to run through some things with you guys. So one of the top reasons why you will want to eat in the evening, especially on a weight loss journey, is actually because you are not eating enough throughout the day. So if you are really restricting and withholding snacks or breakfast or lunch, or maybe you're not even having any of those, maybe you're having a late breakfast and then maybe nothing in the afternoon, you are going to be underfed. Okay, now let's say you do this many times in a row, maybe week after week after week. You are going to be severely underfed. Now, what that means is you can wake up every single day with the best intentions of being healthy and not overeating. And you will get to the end of the day, and your body is going to be screaming at you to eat enough calories, right? Because we don't want to naturally be in a calorie deficit. We don't naturally want to be under eating. And we certainly, as human beings, our bodies are not wired to really thrive with under eating. So if you are able to be distracted and be have many responsibilities throughout the day, and you're able to get on past, like get on throughout the day, fine. And then you have your dinner, and then maybe the kids go to bed, and all of a sudden you cannot get your hands out of the cookie jar. You cannot stop eating. What I want you to be thinking about is, am I restricting my food? Am I having breakfast, lunch, and a snack, right? I have a very lean body. I don't have a huge amount of fat, and I still eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. The reason why I'm doing this is because if I don't, this would be me. I would finish dinner and my body is still looking to recalibrate. It is still looking for the calories that I have missed earlier on in the day. Now, what happens when you are binging in the evening? You're making up for the deficit of calories that you've had throughout the day. Now, being in a deficit is necessary to lose weight. Some of us are already very much aware of this, but if you are severely restricting and then in the evening time you're piling on all the food, you're not going to be in a light calorie deficit. You're probably going to eat that deficit, and then you're going to eat more, because what's in motion stays in motion. It is very, very, very difficult to, when your body is in that flow of um, receiving those calories and eating the food, and usually it's junk food. We don't typically overeat on carrot sticks and broccoli. In the evening, when you're having that food and when you're in that state of trying to refeed your body, it is going to be very, very, very difficult for you to stop in that moment because you're already in the flow, you're already in the motions, right? So, just in case you just in case you guys think that having like movement underneath your arm is bad, like that's all freaking that's muscle. Like I just noticed in the camera, I was like, oh look. And then I just remember being young and seeing my arms flopping around and thinking it was a bad thing. Like it's not. So it's going to be very, very difficult for you to stop eating once you're already eating because your body is crying out for that food. Now it gets it. It turns into this, like we turn into a bit of this like savage zombie um mindset where we just kind of check out and we eat, 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 eat. So it's your body's way of recalibrating, but we happen to overeat most of the time. So if you're trying to be healthy and you're trying to lose weight, actually severe restriction might not be working for you if you find yourself overeating in the evenings. So first and foremost, look and notice, are you eating like 2 to 3 meals throughout the day before dinner, right? I only eat two and one snack. So I would call that like two and a half or two and a bit. Have a look to see if you are eating enough throughout the day. One of my clients, she would have breakfast and then she would ignore all of her hunger cues till about 3 or 4 p.m. where she could not ignore them anymore, right? So she was intentionally bypassing them. But what that meant is then when she ate, she overate because she was shoveling in more, so much more than she needed so quickly because of the natural instinctive reaction to shovel more in. So she was trying to restrict and then she was ending up overeating. So it just doesn't work as a strategy. Okay. Reason number two, and I want you to let me know if this resonates with you guys in the chat. Reason number two is a responsibility offload. So I want you to think about the first sign that you get to unwind from all of your responsibilities, okay? This might just be in the evening. Maybe having food and a distraction, some rest, gives you a little bit of dopamine. It gives you some joy. It gives you some feelings of contentment, okay? And when we are busy being a mum and a boss and an employee and a carer and all of this throughout the day, you don't get a chance to do what you feel like you want to do or what brings you joy. Now, let's be honest. We've got to be honest here. If you are prioritizing work, if you're prioritizing caring over a family member, if you're prioritizing looking after your children over finding joy, then that's a priority. It's not something that you have to do. You absolutely do not have to do anything. It is your choice to do that over what the alternative is, right? So it might be your choice to take care of your mum over leaving her in the hands of a carer or leaving her at all, right? When we say I don't have a choice in doing these things, we absolutely do have a choice. The choice might not be between two things that bring you joy, but it is still a choice, right? So the reason why I say that is because it's really, really important for you to recognize that you have far more choice. When you talk about things in a positive light, it makes things easier. You can be more grateful for things, and gratitude brings about more contentment and joy. So if you're looking for some contentment, if you're looking for joy, start noticing where you get the choice to do things. You get to choose to do taxes or not, right? You might say, no, I don't, Bianca, it's the law. Well, yeah, you have a choice to abide by the law or not, right? Whether you abide by the law or you go to jail, that is your choice. Now, that might sound quite crazy to some of you, but when you start looking at everything that is your choice and your decision, things get a little bit more enjoyable. Life gets more enjoyable. So think about that. So the first time you offload all of your responsibilities that you have chosen and you get the chance to unwind, let's say you're eating at the dinner table and this is your first time to unwind. The last thing that you're going to want to do is get up and do more chores and do more responsibilities, right? The last thing you're going to want to do is get up and wash the dishes and do the ironing and pack for tomorrow's lunch and finish off with the kids and put them to bed. You don't want to be doing that. Now, quite a lot of the time, eating is the only way that you can justify to yourself to sit down and do nothing. Fun fact, I've just got off a call with one of my clients and she really, really struggled to sit down and do something productive, which was intentionally being unproductive, right? So the productivity was actually coming from her sitting down and doing nothing. Sometimes if we have a full plate and we're juggling a lot of stuff and we've got a lot of responsibilities or we're choosing to take on a lot of responsibilities, um, sitting down in front of the TV or doing like just chilling and relaxing, maybe scrolling your phone, watching TV in the evening might feel unproductive. And we might have stories from your parents, your mum, maybe growing up, that sitting down and doing nothing is not productive and you should be doing something, right? If you ever hear that word should, you should be doing something, I should be doing something productive, and that is your time to unwind, you're going to have a very hard time convincing yourself that it's okay to sit and chill. So if your responsibilities are offloaded by the time you sit down and have dinner, you're not going to want to get up and do the next things very quickly because it's the first time you get to chill for yourself, right? So you might want to continue overeating. You might want to continue overeating beyond your enough. Like once you've had reached enough and you're like, okay, I'm going to keep eating, because subconsciously your brain knows that if as long as you continue eating, you get to sit down and rest. Okay? You get to look after you. You get to take care of you. You get to give yourself joy and give yourself pleasure. What your brain doesn't realize is not reaching your goals is really fucking painful, really annoying, really physically painful, right? And it might actually be detrimental to your health. Your brain doesn't know that shit. It doesn't know that. So the second reason is maybe it's the first time you've offloaded your responsibilities. This is the first time that you get to sit down with you, and extending your eating means that you actually get to relax without feeling guilty about relaxing. But that actually leads up to more guilt and more shame because you're overeating, and now you've got to lose weight because you're overeating in the evenings, right? It's this crazy loop that we get ourselves stuck in. It's not bad, and you shouldn't know any better, right? It's just that you don't know any different. That's maybe what you've been brought up to listen to know and understand. Maybe that's just your reality, okay? So, number three is maybe there's a part of you that is actually just fed up of fucking rules and fed up of being the one that everyone comes to and hearing mom and being the one. Maybe you're just exhausted, right? It's exhausting to be a good wife, mum, sister, daughter, friend, employee. So maybe by the time the evening rolls around, your first possible time to be you might be alone, where you get to rebel against any outside authority without any judgment, right? Maybe you get to do whatever the fudge you want to do for the first time without judgment and other passing eyes. You get to do what you want to do without anyone telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing. So I actually have a client who has a very strong inner rebellion. She doesn't like to be told what to do, and that stems from childhood. And quite a lot of the time, she wants to rebel against people telling her what to do. So what we started doing was actually shifting this around and saying, okay, you are actually on this weight loss journey for you. Like I obviously care about your results, but what you do has no impact on me. I'm not telling you to do these things. You're asking me how to lose weight, and I'm sharing with you the exact steps that will work. I'm not telling you to do something, right? So maybe it's easier for you to recognize that nobody is telling you to lose weight. Nobody's telling you to eat healthier. The doctor might have said it's going to help you, but again, it's your choice. No one is telling you to do something. So if your inner rebellion is fed up of everyone coming to you for anything, I want you to sit down and recognize that nobody's coming for you to change your eating habits and your health but you. Okay? People can ask you, but they can't tell you to do something unless they're literally physically grabbing your hands and shoveling food in your face, which is not going to be happening, right? If you're watching this, this is probably not going to be happening. So if there's a part of you that wants to rebel against dieting and dieting world, fantastic. Absolutely. Come and jump on board. I hate diets and I hate the dieting industry, right? I hate it. That's why I've created this I used to have a challenge, and I then named it Fuck Diet Challenge, but it's more of a diet detox. So I'm rebranding the 5 days to a diet detox, and I'm teaching you how to reset, so how to lose weight and feel amazing without freaking dieting, okay? Now, this is like a 5-day workshop. It's intensive. It's only for women who actually want to make a change. If you're dabbling, if you're not sure, if you're not ready, it's not for you, right? Stick to the free trainings. This one is free. It's a 5-day workshop, but it really is for women who are ready to actually change. Like you are sick and tired of spinning your fucking wheels, of having the same results. You are sick and tired of um, everyone telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing. Maybe you're baffled and you don't know what to do, but you have achieved so much in your life, right? If you have achieved so much in your life, but you're really struggling with your weight, and maybe you don't know what to do, maybe you don't know where to start, maybe you're just sick of diets not working, this 5-day immersion, this 5-day reset is for you. We're going to completely detox you of any diet rules and any diet trauma, get rid of that crap, and teach you exactly what you need, what the exact blueprint is in order for you to not diet, but live sustainably in a healthy way, in a way that feeds you naturally. So if you're interested, just make sure you drop the word, I don't know, reset under this video, and I'll make sure I flick you the details to the 5 days workshop. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Drop the word reset if you want the details for that. But if your inner rebellion is fed up, I want you to notice who's telling you to diet, and are they actually telling you to diet, or is this your choice? Are you choosing a healthy option? Are you choosing a healthy life? Right? So number 4 is no, I did I say that I was going to do 6? We're not going to do 6. Um, sorry, my notes are crazy. Number 4 is going to be guilt. Okay. Some women, some of us, hold a lot of guilt in our lives. We are guilty that we haven't been a good enough mum. We're guilty that we haven't been a good enough employee. Maybe we let someone down. Maybe we forgot to do something. Maybe we're not the best friend. Maybe we feel like a shitty daughter or a shitty wife. We carry guilt very heavily, right? It runs heavily in our hearts. There's a lot of societal norms. There's a load of high bars that society sets, and we feel like we need to meet those. And so we carry around a lot of guilt and a lot of shame, a lot of self-judgment. Not many women actually feel like they're enough, right? Let me know, drop the word enough in the chat if you're listening to this in the comment section. Like, drop the word enough if you don't feel like you're enough in an area of your life, whether you're not enough of a wife or enough of an employee, or the work that you do just isn't enough. Now, this is a very heavy feeling, and it's a negative feeling, right? It's in terms of like positive and negative, the body feels it as a negative emotion, right? It serves a purpose, so it's purposeful, but it's felt in a negative way. When we feel guilt and shame and anger and resentment and all of these negative felt emotions, that is painful to the brain, right? That is painful. The brain does not want to feel this. So we have this desire to escape. And this can also work for boredom and frustration and upset and resentment, right? We want to avoid feeling these emotions. So when we carry around a lot of guilt, or we're feeling these negative emotions and we want to escape those emotions, quite often the only time that we are not thinking um, about how we're feeling and ruminating on what's going on is when we're actually eating. So I want you to think, when you're eating, you're probably thinking about all the texture and the food and how good it feels and how good it tastes and how much it smells. You're probably thinking about the food and not thinking about the guilt that you're carrying around. This is why when we eat for comfort. What we're actually eating from comfort for, yeah, what the comfort is for is not feeling that negative emotion. So if you're eating to to not feel guilt, if you're eating to not feel guilt, this is going to have you eating in the evening, right? Because it is a way to disassociate and to stop thinking about that feeling and to stop feeling that feeling. Okay, so if you're someone who carries around a lot of guilt and you notice that you eat in the evening, I want you to start working on the guilt that you're carrying around, not the eating evening. Because when you fix the problem at the root, right, this is what I talk about in my programs. So, my programs, my 5-day reset, it is all about fixing the problem at the root. So the root of overeating at nighttime in this example is the feelings of guilt that you're carrying around. Now, I don't care what fucking plan you go on. I don't care what food you have, what plan you go on, what diet you have. If you eat to avoid the feelings of guilt or any other feelings, that is not going to change because you're on a diet. You are still going to feel those feelings of guilt and still need that disconnect. You're still going to need that time to stop thinking about that emotion and feeling that emotion. So if you do not tackle the actual problem, like for example, the feeling of guilt, you're always going to overeat. Number 5 is typically women, maybe over 40. Our stress hormones are sky freaking high throughout the day, right? You're looking after everyone else, you've got deadlines, you've got endless to-do lists, which never ever actually end. You've got responsibilities, you've got, as I said, deadlines, there's bills, and everything that's going on throughout the day. Your hormones are building, right? Your hormones, your stress hormones, you're building, you're building, you're building. Now, you've been rocking and rolling all day. You've been people pleasing. You've been getting the animals fed and watered. Like I said, kids to school, bossing your own house. Your stress hormones have depleted the hell out, right? When you get home and you finally get that, oh, done, your body has crashed. I want you to think of like a blood sugar level, right? If you eat something that's carb rich, your blood sugars are going to go high and then they're going to crash, right? What comes up must come down. And it goes below that neutral line. It's going to crash. Now, this is like your stress hormones. It's going high and then it's crashing. When we are crashed like that, our body sends out alert signals everywhere. So it goes, holy crap, we need to recalibrate, we need to get back to equilibrium. What can we do to get our stress back up to that baseline at least? Now, the problem is quite a lot of our methods that we use get us back up to the top. So it doesn't get us to the baseline, it goes back up to that peak. So if we're talking about blood sugar levels, when we crash, we crave coffee, we crave sugar, we crave that fast hit energy. So it takes us all the way back up to the top, right? And when we're at the top, um, it's going to crash again. So if you have been so freaking busy throughout the entire day, your hormones have crashed, you are going to do whatever you can to recalibrate that to get it back up, but it usually goes back up again. So if you are crashing in the evenings and you notice that you are craving foods and you're binging and you're eating loads of foods in the evenings and you have had a very stressful day, it could just be your hormones are crashing and you need time to chill and maybe different foods or even not using food to return back to your baseline. That's when we have tools to help slowly regulate. Have a healthy fat with dinner. Make sure that you're not avoiding fats at dinner, right? Because fats help regulate hormones amongst many other benefits. We want to be having a source of healthy fat with dinner just to help with those hormones and to help with satiety, satisfaction, and to slow down the release. And I'm talking about the wrong one. Um, increase satiety. Stop there, Bianca. So I know that was 5, um, but I'm going to add in one that's not quite related, but it is related. So what I was talking about with my client is she wanted to crash at the end of the day, right? She wanted to actually offload her responsibilities and for the first time in the day, feel calm, collected, content, and relaxed. So what she was doing, excuse me, what she was doing was sitting in front of the TV to relax. However, there was a belief installed in her, maybe as a child or younger, that sitting in front of the TV is not productive and it's lazy. So what she was doing was eating, because when we're eating, we can justify not doing anything, right? If you have parents, or if this resonates with you, please let me know. But if you have parents who were of the era that if you sit down, you're lazy and you shouldn't be watching TV because watching TV is lazy and you should always be productive, you are going to feel massive amounts of guilt the moment you sit down in front of the TV to relax. So quite a lot of the time, people will sit down in front of the TV to relax, but then they feel guilty about doing it. So the only way that they can justify meeting their needs, so the needs was to relax and unwind because it's the first time that you've actually fucking stopped for the day. The only way we can justify that is when we're eating, right? So watching TV is no longer enough because watching TV, there's a lot of guilt and shame around that. So if we're watching TV, doing what we want to do, and then we're eating, we can now justify it, right? So if this is something, if this is a kind of a household that you grew up in where you are eating to justify, then I want you to pay attention to that. How does sitting down in the evening, when you are a busy person, how does that feel to you? Is it enough? Does it feel icky? Do you feel unproductive? Do you feel lazy? Like, what connotations do you have around you doing that activity in the evening, right? And does it actually give you what you're looking for? If you're looking to offload your responsibilities, is figuring out what you're doing tomorrow or doing some washing and folding laundry actually helping you, right? If you say that doing something monotonous helps you relax and unwind, cool. But is doing something monotonous like folding the laundry helping you relax and unwind when you've been doing the laundry all day? Okay, so get really, really curious. One thing that this client just forgot to do was get really fucking curious because behind every action, behind every behavior, behind every craving is a message. And this, if I could install anything in any woman, it is that this every craving, every symptom, every behavior is a message, right? If you look at it as a message that has been sent to you by your body, instead of looking at it as a failure, you are going to be able to actually figure out what the frick is how it's going on so you can fix it, change it, and change your behavior. Yeah. So if you look at this with curiosity, with trying to find out what the underlying message is, you can fix the problem, right? And the problem might be eating in the evenings. And eating in the evenings might be the thing that is keeping you from the scale going down. It might be keeping the scale the same because you might be in a calorie deficit all day and then it gets to the evening time where it's the first time that you're able to unwind. It's the first time that you're able to be by yourself. It's the first time that you're not hearing mum, 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 right? It's the first time that you're not hearing your own thoughts and your own shame and judgment, right? So get curious as to why this behavior, why you're having a craving, because underlying that is going to be the message that needs addressing. Like my client today, we sat down and we looked at why she was having popcorn in the evening. And we understood by being really curious and saying, oh, this is juicy. What message could this be? We peeled back the layers and we could see that she was busy all day and she wanted to unwind. But the problem is her unwinding tool, watching TV, was actually laced with guilt and shame from past stories. So we looked at different ways that she can relax and unwind and get the feelings that she was trying to achieve. So, hey, we'll see how that goes. But I guarantee you, she will be able to get rid of the evening eating because her needs will be met, right? If your needs are not met, your cravings will be crazy and you will really struggle to lose weight, right? If your needs are not met, you will struggle to lose weight. I'm going to leave you on that one, but let me know if this resonated. I want to hear if any of these actually make sense. I think I said that I was going to do six. I kind of gave you five reasons and one reason why you might find it very difficult. So, should I go through those again? So you could be actually hungry throughout the day. So you're under nourishing yourself, you're under feeding yourself. Maybe it's the first time that you actually have no responsibilities, that you can enjoy time off, guilt free. Maybe there's a part of you that is just sick and tired of rules and regulations, and you just want to feel free. And maybe eating in the pantry makes you feel free, right? Maybe that is the only way that you feel free, right? That doesn't mean that you're doomed. It doesn't mean that you can't lose weight. It just means that you need to rewire the way that you think about freedom and the way that you feel about outside rules and authority. Maybe you are feeling, oh, maybe you're carrying around a lot of guilt, maybe a lot of shame, like mum guilt and stuff like that. That feeling will have you wanting to escape in the evening, especially if it's the first time of the day that you can sit down and hear that, right? You could be busy all day, and then in the evening, because you're by yourself, now you're left with your own thoughts. Now the guilt and shame comes up. So you're plunging yourself headfirst into a tub of ice cream so you don't have to feel that guilt. Okay. So maybe we've got a lot of guilt, and then maybe your stress hormones are crashing. So they're rising throughout the day and they're crashing, and your body is just wanting to get back to equilibrium. If your body is not in equilibrium, if your body is not in homeostasis, if your body feels out of sorts, it will do anything it can to pull you back in. But the problem is, it pulls you back in too soon, and you end up going back the other way. So maybe your stress hormones are crashing. And I talked about my client who was trying to serve one of these, right? She was trying to serve the fact that she was busy throughout the day and it was her first time to sit down and unwind, but she actually wasn't able to do that because she wasn't giving herself permission to do that. She wasn't giving herself permission from previous stories. So we looked at why she wasn't actually getting the thing that she wanted, which was relaxation. So let me know if this makes sense. Let me know if this was helpful. Please drop helpful. And if you guys want to jump on the 5-day diet detox, it is a 5-day reset for women who are done with dieting to help you lose weight and feel amazing for life, right? It is the blueprint that I have curated over the last 5 years to help you get rid of diets and feel fucking fantastic. So if you're interested in that, make sure you drop the word reset below and I'll get you the details sent over to you. But take care, guys, and I will catch you soon. Bye.